just enjoying this fall weather and lots of beautiful leaves coming from this tree. Ah! Oh my goodness, Tito, you scared me. It is so fun to jump in the leaves. They're awesome. That looks like fun. But look at this tree, Tito. Look it up. Wow. Oh, it's getting so bare. Yeah, it doesn't have very many leaves left. You know what? There's a special name for this kind of tree where the leaves turn color and the leaves fall off in the fall. We call this kind of a tree a deciduous tree. It starts with the letter D, deciduous. That's the science name for it. But did you know, Tito, not all trees change color in the fall. Really? Yeah, there are some trees that just stay green all year long. And we call those trees evergreens. Should we go for a hunt for some evergreens? Oh yeah! So Tito, here we are in the yard. If you just take a look around, you will see lots of trees around the neighborhood that are green. They're evergreen trees. They're not changing color. Yeah, I do see them. And did you know if you look closely at them, they're all a little bit different. There's one over here I want to show you. You can see this one is a very tall tree. And take a look here at the type of leaves. The leaves it has are very different than the leaves that that have been falling off, changing color. This is a red cedar tree. And there's another one on the other corner of the yard. Let's go take a look. So Tito, this is the other tree I wanted you to take a look at. It's another type of evergreen, also very, very tall. Hey, something's hanging down on this tree, brown stuff. Yeah, little brown pine cones. There's tons of them. And you know that those pine cones have tree seeds in them. That's how little trees start, with the seeds. And if we come back down to the ground over here, can you see, Tito, that lots of these pine cones have fallen down? This tree is a Douglas fir tree. Let's just collect a few of them that have fallen down. Oh, wow, there's a lot of them. Yeah, there sure are. And I wonder if some of the boys and girls might find these kind of pine cones around their house too. You can tell they're Douglas fir because they have little tiny, kind of looks like a little tiny tail sticking out all over the place. And actually there's a really interesting story that goes with it. Do you want me to tell you? It's called The Mouse, Douglas Fir, and the Great Forest Fire. Okay, that sounds good. All right, you help me. You hold the story and take a look at this pine cone while I'm telling it. A long time ago, when the animals and plants could speak to each other, there was a great forest fire burning through the forest. Little Mouse ran as fast as he could away from the hot fire, but he knew he could not outrace the fast-moving flames. He began to run from tree to tree, asking them if they could save him. First he ran to the big leaf maple tree. We know what that tree looks like. "Help, help," he cried. "Can you help me escape this fire?" Big leaf maple tree said, "No, I'm sorry, little mouse. I'm afraid that I am not going to be able to survive this forest fire." The mouse then ran to the red cedar tree. "Help, help, can you save me and help me escape this fire?" "No, I'm sorry, little mouse, but I do not think that I can survive this fire either," said red cedar. Mouse ran from tree to tree, asking the same question and getting the same answer. "No, we can't help you." Finally, he came to a great old Douglas fir tree, like this one, with its thick furrowed bark. "Help, help, Douglas fir. Can you help me escape this fire?" said the mouse. And the Douglas fir tree replied, "Yes, I think that my thick bark will protect me from the heat of these flames, and I might just be able to survive this great fire. Climb to the top and climb under the scales of my cone for extra protection." So the little mouse did as he was told. and climbed way up into the Douglas fir tree and hid under the scales of the Douglas fir tree cone. Many other little mice followed him and did the same thing. They all hid in the cones. And the Douglas fir tree was right. Its thick bark protected them from the flames of the fire, and the fire passed them by. To this day, if you look under the scales of the Douglas fir tree cone, you can still see little mice hiding under the scales of the cones. Can you see them too?
Oh, it does kind of look like little mouse tails hanging down, hiding under there.
Yeah. So this little story has helped me remember what a Douglas fir tree cone looks like. And if you find these kind of cones with the little tails hanging out, you know that you are very close to a Douglas fir tree. Well, Tito, let's finish collecting our pine cones and then take a look at them inside.
Okay.
Well, Tito and I collected quite a lot of pine cones.
And they all have little mice stuck in them.
Well, just pretend, not really. But these are pine cones from the Douglas fir tree. And I just wanted you, Tito, to take a close look. Here is one example of the Douglas fir tree. It still has a pine cone attached to it. But I want you to notice how this is much different than the leaves we were collecting last week. These are not really called leaves, they're called needles.
Oh, ouch, that hurts.
Yeah, they're a little bit spiky.
I see why they're called needles.
Right, so it's quite different than the big oval-shaped leaves that change color, these needles. Now some trees, actually let's remember that this is called a Douglas fir. But I want you to take a look at this leaf over here. It's quite different than the Douglas fir leaf. It's also an evergreen, but feel it.
It doesn't hurt, it's not like needles.
No, these are very, very flat, a bit smooth. And look at, there's still some pine cones here.
But they're so little.
Yeah, some of the evergreens have very, very tiny little pine cones. Now this is an example of the western red cedar tree. That was the first tree I showed you outside. Remember how huge it was? Well, this is what its leaves look like up close. So we know the Douglas fir, the western red cedar. Now there are two other examples of evergreens I have here. This one is a very spiky one. I'm not sure if it's a type of spruce, but its pine cones are quite a bit different. And again, that's where the seeds of the tree come from. Again, it's very spiky needles. And over here, another example of an evergreen. There are so many types of evergreens with different kinds of pine cones. Some are very, very large like this, and some are very, very tiny like the western red cedar. But these are all trees you might find around your neighborhood. I do, Tito, want to show you some other pine cones. Look.
That is enormous!
I know. It didn't come from around here. I actually use it as a decoration because I think pine cones are really pretty. I think you can make some really cool decorations out of them.
Oh yeah!
So, what did you learn today, Tito? Do you remember what deciduous means?
Deciduous. It's a tree where the leaves fall off.
That's right. Deciduous trees lose their leaves in the fall. They turn beautiful colors and they fall off. And what are these kind of trees called with the pine cones and the needles? They're called evergreen trees because they stay green. You can see the word green in there. They stay green all year long, so they're called evergreen. Well, there are lots of great evergreen trees to explore out there, everybody. So maybe you can go for a hunt for pine cones, see what kind of pine cones you find. We've got a lot of Douglas fir pine cones here, so maybe Tito and I will do some counting. Count how many you can find too, and we'll compare how many you found too. All right, bye for now.